Welcome back, everybody. We are back in 2nd Chronicles, and we're going to be in chapter 19 today. And if you remember from the previous chapter, King Jehoshaphat has just got back from hanging out with King Ahab over in Israel. And yes, the same King Ahab who was married to Jezebel, the woman who made chaos her full-time ministry. And so King Jehoshaphat, he returns home, he dusts off his royal sandals, and here comes the prophet Jehu. He's the son of Hanani. And Hanani, if you recall, was the same prophet who roasted Jehoshaphat's dad, Asa. And so Jehu, he doesn't waste time with pleasantries. He walks straight up to King Jehoshaphat like a man on a mission. And in verse 2 he says, "Why should you help the wicked and love those who hate the Lord?" he asked the king. "Because of what you have done, the Lord is very angry with you." Jehoshaphat, my guy, why are you hanging out with these villainous creatures? Why are you doing these side quests with these villains? So God is basically telling Jehoshaphat, you can't keep networking with the enemies of heaven and expect my favor. But, and this is the saving grace here, Jehu adds in verse 3, he says, "Even so, there is some good in you, for you have removed the Asherah poles throughout the land, and you have committed yourself to seeking God." So it's like, Jehoshaphat, you messed up here, buddy. You messed up. But you know what? I still like you. I'm still going to use you, and you're still doing some good stuff here. So Jehoshaphat, he's feeling convicted. He's feeling humbled. He's probably sweating through his royal robes, if I'm being honest. But he hits the road. He goes village to village through Judah, from Beersheba all the way to the hill country of Ephraim, preaching repentance. And it's as if he's telling himself, if God's calling me out, then I'm going to call the nation in, and I'm going to preach repentance to the entire nation. So then he appoints judges over all the land, and before these judges can even open their mouths, Jehoshaphat gives them a speech of a lifetime. And that's found in verse 6. He says to them, "Always think carefully before pronouncing judgment. Remember that you do not judge to please the people, but to please the Lord. He will be with you when you render the verdict in each case. Fear the Lord and judge with integrity, for the Lord your God does not tolerate perverted justice, partiality, or the taking of bribes." So Jehoshaphat's telling these judges, hey, don't get cute. Don't become corrupt. God is watching. God is sitting on the bench watching you. He also institutes the first anti-bribery policy, which is kind of cool. He's like, don't take camels for favor deals. No camel for favor deals allowed. But then the king takes it up another notch. He creates a high court in Jerusalem. He appoints Levites and priests and heads of families, and their jobs are basically to handle the cases of bloodshed, law, commands, decrees, and regulations. He tells them in verse 11, "Amariah the high priest will have final say in all cases involving the Lord. Zebediah, son of Ishmael, a leader from the tribe of Judah, will have final say in all cases, in all civil cases. The Levites will assist you in making sure that justice is served. Take courage as you fulfill your duties, and may the Lord be with those who do what is right." So God is basically using Jehoshaphat to say, boys, do justice correctly, love truth and love mercy, and don't make me come down there. He's also dividing the responsibilities here, some handling spiritual cases and others handling civil cases. But God is carefully watching all of this. And Jehoshaphat, he's learned his lesson. No more reckless alliances, no more compromising friendships, just righteous leadership and good governance. And that is where chapter 19 concludes. Now, I think it's funny to call out that Jehoshaphat is basically that friend who's like, I can fix him, about the most problematic person or people. And spoiler alert, he could not fix King Ahab. King Ahab still did what was evil and only cared about himself. I also thought it was cool how God sent Jehu the prophet to intervene, basically, and say, hey, this friendship with King Ahab, this is not it, buddy. Do better. Alright, but what are the takeaways that we can get from this today? I think the first thing that's pretty obvious is that we need to choose our alliances wisely. We need to make sure, or be careful, who we're making friendships with, deep friendships with. For Jehoshaphat, helping King Ahab might have seemed like a strategic thing to do, might have seemed like the right thing to do. But God sent him a prophet to publicly question his judgment, and I think he does the same for us. It's called discernment, and so we need to know that not every partnership is divine assignment. The other thing that's important to note here is that correction is not rejection. God rebuked King Jehoshaphat, but he didn't replace him. Sometimes grace wears the face of confrontation. The next thing is righteous leadership starts with accountability. King Jehoshaphat didn't just say, oops, I did it again. No, he built a system and put a system in place to prevent injustice, and that is repentance with structure. And last but not least, we need to fear God more than we fear fallout. Whether we are a judge, a boss, a coworker, a group project leader, whatever it is, we need to lead like God is watching, because he is. and we want to do all that we do to honor him. All right, so here's the challenge for today. Instead of seeking out friendships or influences or Ahab partnerships in our lives that are going to distract us from God's mission, we should be people that don't just seek God, but also structure our lives to reflect his justice and his wisdom. I hope you'll do it. I hope you'll think about it. Won't you do it?